Hello, everyone, and welcome back to PODCAD. As you can see on your screens, your digital screens, iPad babies, we're joined by the lovely Justina Yu, a master of Taekwondo and art conservation. She was once on our podcast before, actually twice on our podcast before.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of our first guests on
Yeah.
Broadcast.
An OG to OCAD LiVE as well.
Yeah. Founding member.
Correct. Yes.
And she's here to join us and give us her lovely takes on how to save the art world from crumbling.
Is that correct?
Partially correct. Yeah, let's go with that. Oh,
Well.
that makes my job sound so much cooler than what it is. Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm really good. It's really nice to be back and to see all of you guys and just see the set. Like, how cool is this? We used to film in our bedrooms. We were talking about this
yeah.
earlier, so I'm really happy to see how this has grown.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've progressed a little.
It was all the
Little bit.
same bedroom too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This came
crammed
from
into-
my bedroom.
Oh, very nice. It's cute.
So it's been a large leap into better things, and you've moved on to better things too than being a student at OCAD, and
Working at OCAD Live.
yeah, we would love to know more about that.
For sure. Yeah, my time at OCAD was just so valuable and really memorable. That's where I met you guys, so many great things came out of it. Where should I start? Really?
I guess let's start from GradX, and you can fill us in from there.
Sure. So after GradX, that's where I displayed my mural, the really big 8 by 30 foot painting. For those wondering, if anyone's wondering, it's rolled up in my parents' dining room right now, the unused dining room. So very bad conservation practice. But anyways, after that summer I had a show at the Women's Art Association of Canada with another OCAD grad. So we did that for, I think it was 2 weeks. And then right after that, I launched into my chemistry education. So I spent 1 year studying chemistry at various universities, taking lab courses, doing organic chemistry, which I don't recommend unless it's essential to what you're trying to
It's
do.
organic.
Don't go for organic. Oh,
Yeah.
hard times. But yeah, and then during my time doing chemistry, I also worked as an archivist. One of our professors actually at OCAD, her name is JJ Lee, and she had a show called In My Yesterday where she transformed her family heirlooms and all these historical objects that came from like Chinese immigration to Canada. She transformed it into a show that had installation, animation, a lot of contemporary things in tandem with these objects. So as an archivist, I was in charge of documenting and kind of condition checking these objects. So I had a chance to go to her show. And then while all of this was happening, I applied for grad school and
Cool.
got in.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so right now I'm a Master's of Art Conservation candidate at Queen's University.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
That's
that's
big.
been the biggest change because I've had to move to a completely new city and kind of reestablish myself there. But I think I've been doing okay. I've been settling in well. And in terms of Taekwondo and sports and what you guys kind of know me for, I guess, I spent a lot of time last year recovering from an injury. I tore my meniscus and it was really bad. Couldn't walk for a while. So
That's in the knee, right?
that's in the knee. Yes,
That's
that's like
like
the spongy
the-
padding between
that's
your
a lot of the
knee
knee.
bones. Yeah. So for a while I was recovering, and now I'm kind of back to movement and starting to compete again.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd say back to movement is an understatement, because
Maybe a little
as
bit.
we'll see. But I'm glad you're doing better.
Thank you.
And over that time, you took a really big leap, I'd say, to, as I mentioned, to become a master. And that is so cool. Being a master of anything is cool, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a master of Taekwondo is just even cooler.
Thank you.
And
yeah.
I guess like the process has been your whole life, but maybe you can give an anecdote of like how that's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm 23 right now. I started Taekwondo when I was 5 years old, so that's 18 years of just practicing, competing, and all that. We actually applied for my 5th Dan, that's like the master's certificate, close to my 22nd birthday. And we weren't sure that I would get it because they have a minimum age requirement, and I was actually quite a bit far off of that. So we sent it in, we're like, okay, fingers crossed, forgot about it for a few months. And we thought, okay, it didn't go through. We'll try again in 3 years. But in the start of, I believe, 2023, we got the certificate in the mail. Turns out they had just like never notified us that it went through. They just sent it straight to us. And so, you know, we held the ceremony and did a little, I was still really injured then, so we did like a modified testing procedure, and my coach was able to award me with that certificate. Yeah, it was a very meaningful moment to me. Yeah.
That's crazy that they wouldn't give you any like heads up
No,
or anything that was
not
coming.
at
Like
all.
that's wild.
And it had to go through different people too. Like, I'm sure they had so many other things to take care of, but usually, you know, if it goes to the association first, they could be like, hey, heads up, certificate's on the way. But no, we just got in the mail in a like do not crumple type of little box, and we're like, what's this? It was the thing.
That's
Yeah.
good conservation practice.
Great conservation practice.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm something of a taekwondo kind of guy myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. When I was in kindergarten, my mom put me through it was either piano or taekwondo,
Right.
and I didn't choose. She chose for me.
I didn't get the choice. The choice was
Taekwondo.
both.
It was both.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I could have been a piano prodigy, but instead I'm a taekwondo
But
expert
your
now.
meniscus
I
gave
know
out
I know
Yeah.
I know a little bit of apchagi and
Oh, heck
you know,
yeah, that-
you know,
yeah.
yeah. But I remember I think this was like the first day I got the uniform and the little white belt, you know. I was so proud of myself. I did like one lesson, and then like and my mom took me to the park, and I was still wearing my uniform, and there was like another kid, and he asked me like, oh, are you like a karate guy? And I'm just like, yeah, I know how to fight. Want to fight?
Oh gosh.
And then this kid like kicked my ass. But
You know what
it
we
was,
should do? We should do a master versus a white belt
Master is a
right
white
now.
right now.
Right
I
now.
actually got like I think I don't know the colors, but I think like the purple or some.
Yeah.
There's a few. I think I have like 6 belts.
And every school uses a different system nowadays.
Really?
So
Yeah.
like I know approximately where that is. That's a good level that you got to.
But black is
Yeah,
still
what is
the
it?
top, right?
Fit-
yeah, black's still the coolest. What
for,
can I say?
For every single school.
I think yeah, for every single
Yeah.
school.
Well, I mean, like, it's pretty good if I'm gonna fight like 7-year-olds. You know, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think I've
perfect.
retained
Way
any
more
of
than
the.
enough.
I don't
yeah.
think you need a purple belt to fight 7-year-olds.
I don't think you
Mark.
should be fighting 7-year-olds.
But I'm saying I could,
Oh, he
and
Yeah.
I have the qualifications. for it.
Hypothetically, if you needed
Yes.
to, you totally could.
Yeah.
You could probably take 3 of them on.
Have you-
Taekwondo isn't just fighting.
No.
No.
Yes.
Well, tell us more.
Yes.
What it is.
Yeah, so Taekwondo, other than just being the martial art everybody knows it for, to me it's really a way of life. It's taught me a lot of discipline, indomitable spirit, respect, things that have kind of been useful in everyday life, like with my family, friends, workplaces, everything. Within Taekwondo, there's a few kind of subcategories nowadays of competition. So there's sparring, that's the contact fighting, you know, the headshots, everything. And then we have something called pumse. Pumse is forms. So there's a pre-choreographed form, and they judge you based on your technical skills and accuracy and your presentation. So like how strong it looks, the speed at which you execute it, just how good it looks, how high you kick. And there's a new kind of up-and-coming subset of it. We call it freestyle pumse. So basically, with the moves that you've learned throughout your entire career, and some of the like mandatory movements, you can choreograph your own routine to music, and it's super cool. There's like acrobatics involved. So I've competed in all 3 of these categories throughout my life. Freestyle is actually how I injured myself.
Oh.
It seems that whenever I train freestyle or tricking, which I
Yeah.
might talk about later, if I'm just training not for a competition, I can do it. I'm like invincible. I'm like landing things. The moment I sign up for a tournament, something wrong happens. I crunched my ankle 2 years ago, tore my knee like a year ago. So I've decided to
Because
stop.
it's like the movies, you know, the sports movies.
Yeah.
The hero, or no, the underdog gets a chance. Somewhere there's an underdog
Yeah.
that got a chance to compete.
You talking about Karate Kid?
I am the Karate Kid. Yeah.
What is your favorite, I guess, I don't know what it was to call it, genre of competing?
Ooh, I really loved fighting because it really, you need a lot of like sports IQ, and you need to think on the spot and be able to listen to instructions, and it's just so like high pace and everything. The only reason I stopped was because I was short.
No.
Short, not growing, a little heavier, and my coaches
Yeah.
were like, no, don't lose weight. Like, don't lose weight starting at 10 years old. That's really unhealthy. So I stopped doing that, and then I went to Pumse, which is the recognized traditional forms. And I do love that a lot. It's super cool, long process, really tedious to get all your stuff technically correct. But once you do and perform at a high level, it's just like, it's an otherworldly feeling being out there. And then freestyle is probably the most fun to watch just because people are like flying through the air and doing all these cool combinations. So there's cool things about all of them.
Honestly, for me though, like if I still saw somebody doing like non-contact, like Punse and stuff, I still would not fuck with them. Like I would still be like, this person could kick my ass.
Yeah.
So, like, no, truly though,
I don't
like
know,
if you saw
that-
somebody in like the street doing like Taekwondo, just like not even hitting anyone, what are you gonna do?
I don't know, that little Portuguese kid whooped my ass in the sandbox. I don't think he was practicing anything.
He just got that in him. But yeah, it honestly is like even if you're not fighting, if somebody puts on the uniform and they know how to use their power, the uniform makes a lot of sound. It's like you can hear the wind whipping and the kicks are super sharp. Like it's really cool. And like if I didn't do the sport, I'd be scared as
Yeah.
well.
But it's also a very internal and meditative thing.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
To just like kind of turn your mind off and just focus on like feeling your body.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that got me to the higher level of competition is being able to find that. So it's like really, balance between how physically strong I have to be, but also how mentally strong I need to be to handle the competition environment, right? Like I've seen a lot of people freeze up over my career, and that's something that I've always been scared of and had to like actively work to not do. So yeah, very meditative.
What is your sort of plans for the future in Taekwondo? Like, do you have anything you're working towards right now?
Yeah, actually, I have nationals in 3 weeks, or about 3 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah, that's going to be super exciting. It's in Winnipeg, and I'm only competing in Pumse this time because I am not
Yeah.
going to risk another devastating injury. Like, I've given up on that part. But yeah, so nationals in 3 weeks, and if I manage to win that, then that means I'll be on the national team, and I will qualify for the World Championships in November in Hong Kong, which is where my parents are from. So it's
That's crazy.
a little
cool.
extra meaningful.
Wow.
Yeah.
And since they're coming up, like, how are you preparing?
How am I preparing? Well, I've been watching my diet recently. I say that out loud, but like, have I really? Not really. Not
Worry
Well,
the
about
yeah,
it.
best.
you gotta
No.
treat yourself. once
Yeah,
in
I
a
gotta treat
while.
yourself sometimes. You gotta enjoy life, right? Or else, what's the point? But I've been training on my own. Right now in Kingston, where I go to school, I work at the Royal Military College of Canada. I'm their Taekwondo team coach. So at the same time that I'm teaching my athletes, I'm also training with them and training myself. So that's been the preparation so far. Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
Damn.
Yeah. And speaking of diets, you had a show here on OCAD Live,
Yes.
one
I
of the
did.
first shows. And,
That was a good transition,
you thanks for interrupting. No, you helped a lot of OCAD students, starving artists, create good, nutritious meals over the pandemic. And
We're literally starving now.
yeah,
Without you, so you need to come back.
Oh yeah.
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 Just like, yeah, no.
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 I promised a one-off episode a while back, but life just gets so busy
Yeah.
and we never really got to it. But I would love to do something.
Well, that's why
someday.
we have no.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't actually have.
So
Get the burner out.
what stemmed the idea to have a cooking show? Is that something that was like a niche that you saw needed to be filled in?
Well, it's kind of funny because I was thinking we're discussing all the shows. I remember we had that spreadsheet. We were like,
Yeah.
what should we do? Like, how many people do we need to do this? And that was in my pandemic YouTube cooking video phase. But I was thinking like the ASMR stuff.
Yeah.
And I think somebody brought up cooking. And I was like, yeah, like I know how to cook. Like cooking videos are fun. And it was like, okay, you do it. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess like I have to learn how to do all that. And I had like never done videos before, had never cooked in front of a camera before. And I like did not initially plan on making it as educational and instructional as it
Yeah.
was. Like I really wanted to do the ASMR stuff. And they were like, so how are people going to learn from this? And I was like, I guess I have to talk.
Yeah.
So
And you added like cool animations too over the.
Yeah, that was super fun. So time consuming, but I think it was really worth it.
Are you still doing cooking videos, or are
I
you just
am
kind
not
of retired?
actually. Semi-retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm more like a potluck and girls' night chef now.
Nice.
You, I remember you made us some cookies,
Yeah.
that
I was gonna
said
say.
"Brocad."
Yeah, actually,
Oh,
my
yeah.
sister. It was my
Yeah.
sister and I. We were both in our little pandemic baking phase, and she was like,
That was
"Oh, I
fun.
bought these stamps online that have letters or whatever. I'm gonna stamp everybody's name and everybody's show name." And I was like, "Okay, Jamie, like, pop off."
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work.
it is. But we really enjoy it. I feel like that's another really therapeutic, meditative thing that my family does. Is we just cook together and bake together. So it's always been a really big theme in my life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We do we have a cooking show? I
Yeah,
know?
cooking with Steve.
Cooking with Steve,
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, yeah.
But I don't know if there's episodes still being produced
Yeah.
anymore. It's been
Yeah, there
It's
could have
slow.
been there's a transition moment when you left. There was almost going to be a cooking with PODCAD.
Yeah.
And
It was
all
only-
the struggle meals, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so we're gonna show what to make with one hot dog, a piece of white bread, and like
Don't forget the yellow
and
onions.
just the watery part of the ketchup. And we'll
Yeah.
see
oh
what we can make that,
Jesus,
you know.
that's terrible.
And Leo said no.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe
That's
I'll
it.
come back for a cooking with PODCAD.
We should do
We
a
should do
special.
that.
or
That'd
be
something. We
fun.
should plan that.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be really, really cool.
Let's all. I have an idea. Let's plan this right now. We each bring one ingredient.
Oh Jesus.
Oh,
And we don't
I
know
like
what the
that.
hell it's.
So you're gonna bring like the water from ketchup.
I
I'll
will
bring the white bread.
the quail egg.
There's a quote.
I'll bring a yellow onion.
Yellow onion.
Yellow onion.
Yeah.
We'll see what
Yeah.
we can
See
make.
what we
you
can
know?
make.
Yeah.
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 What if we all bring yellow onions?
Onion soup.
cooking with
duh.
onions.
Cooking with onions.
Yeah. Did you see that one video where it's just like hey chef, this was like in a supermarket, like, hey chef, can you make a fine meal for under $10? And just like, all right, we'll see. And then just like, you're gonna need one yellow onion, and then he grabs like something else, like pasta.
Chorizo,
Yeah,
yeah.
just like another yellow onion, and then grabs like meat, and just like
That's
another
gonna be
yellow
the
onion, and then you go to the self checkout, and then you scan all your yellow onions,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to the cooking video, and it's just like this delicious like full course meal.
I DM that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did
Okay.
see it.
Yeah.
Turns
I
out.
saw it. Yeah, I have a short memory, but I know the cooking show is expensive, so you know
Mhm.
it
Yeah,
was
it
also a good
was.
time for self checkouts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good time for self checkout. No, don't. Let's not advertise that.
Yeah. No.
You've moved past cooking for OCAD Live now, and you touched on it earlier, but you've been doing art conservation.
I have, yeah.
How did you first get started with that, or find an interest in
They
pursuing
ain't,
that?
they ain't teaching that at OCAD.
Yeah, no. for
No,
real.
so there's actually very little awareness for art conservation. There's like those YouTube videos. There's
Yeah.
social media. It's like popping up nowadays. But where I first learned about it was actually in high school. So in grade 11, I had a teacher who did this art science course, and it was like a one-off course. It never happened after that year. And we were studying fakes and forgeries. And one of the activities she had us do was create one like real copy of the artwork and then one like forgery, where we would kind of hide little Easter eggs, I guess, right? Like embed a piece of hair in this part and then put a rock here or put some texture here, and we'd give another group like the legend of what to look for, and we'd have to find it through like microscopy and just cutting it apart and stuff like that. And at the end of it, the comment she had for me was, okay, so you're like really good at copying other people's art and like hiding things in art. Can you please do this legally? Like make sure you never go to jail, please. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I'm not gonna forge artwork. She's like, no, I think you could like actually do something with this. So we started talking about art conservation. She sent me like articles and a documentary. And then I just spent the next few years like getting all the prerequisites, asking different universities for information. And a lot of the times that I asked them for information, they had nothing for me. Like I'd go to the university fair and be like, hey, do you guys have an art conservation program? And the people are like, what? What are you doing? Parks conservation? I'm like, no, art conservation. So it took a really long time to find Queen's and this program. And it's the only program in Canada too, so like
Jesus.
Wow.
even more hidden.
But you'd
Yeah.
think that it would be at like an art or design university, you know?
Right?
You'd think.
Or perhaps
Yeah.
college.
Yeah, or even
Yeah.
just mentioned, you know, like I've mentioned it at OCAD and people are like, what are you talking about? I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
everything behind the scenes in a museum is conservation,
Yeah.
basically,
Mhm.
right?
The only thing that I know about art conservation is there's like this one guy, and he got really famous because he was like creating like the best forgeries in the world. Now he's like employed by like some museum in Britain where they have like all like the super like fancy stolen paintings and stuff, and
Yeah.
like they literally hired him. They were like, you are so good at faking paintings that we need you to like fix the original paintings. That's as much as I know.
That was almost me. No, no, I'm joking.
So
But
how
yeah.
many fake Pollocks do you have at home?
Oh, let me.
I feel like
let me look
Pollock
at my
would be
inventory.
the hardest to fake. There's so much like.
No, if you're not trying to make like an exact replica,
Oh,
but just
no,
like
but-
a hidden.
Oh, a hidden
Undiscovered
I get
Pollock.
it. Then it'd be the easiest one to make.
Yeah.
Undiscovered Pollock.
Never before seen.
How does that happen? Like, was just like was rolled up in a warehouse somewhere?
Yeah, sometimes.
In somebody's barn. We find a lot of paintings that come from barns.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a hidden Pollock somewhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, can you walk us through like the process of conserving a painting, for example?
Sure.
Like, it's just been like brought in, it's in like the condition.
Yeah, I can walk you through actually one of my own treatments without saying
Okay.
too much about the painting itself.
For
'Cause,
sure.
you know, very
Confidentiality.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a painting that I received in the lab was, it's an oil on panel painting. It's from the 1930s, and it was showing signs of just being very dirty. Had some paint splatters and some abrasions on the surface. So the first thing we really do is take a look at the painting holistically. You know, does it look stable? Are there any really big issues? Are there like structural damages? I remember this one came in a frame, so the first thing was like, can it be handled? Will it literally crumble to dust if it's out of the frame, right? And we decided it wouldn't, so we took it out of the frame, assessed each of the pieces individually, and then after that, kind of like we start the documentation process because we love to have before and after shots to make sure we're not damaging the piece or doing anything that changes the appearance too drastically. So documentation in like regular light. We do a lot of UV imaging because it shows like varnishes, it shows changes that people have made, like previous restoration efforts. And we also do infrared analysis to see if there's anything beneath the paint that could be, you know, very important to the context and how we treat it. So after all the imaging was done, we do some tests on the very like sides of the painting, really small tests to see what it's sensitive to, what chemicals, if any, we want to use. And then for us as students, like every single step is monitored very closely by our supervisor. And everything we do has to be in like a treatment proposal, has to be talked through with all our reasoning, corrections are made. And then the most recent step I've taken is actually cleaning all of the dirt off the painting.
Damn.
I have a video of this actually,
yeah.
if you want to.
That
Pull
must
it
be
out.
really stressful though, knowing that like
Oh, yeah.
you know you're cleaning something that like you can make one mistake and then it's done.
It's gone.
Like that's
Yeah, so again, without
Hold
saying,
on.
hold on.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, while this is getting sorted out, actually, we had this painting we were handling,
Media type media, yeah.
not in our collection, but this is a painting we were just handling for education purposes.
Yeah.
We found out afterwards that it was like a multi-million-dollar piece. And they didn't tell us this beforehand, which I can
Oh,
understand
nice.
because I think
Yeah.
none of us would have touched
you
it.
would get more stressed.
We would have been
yeah.
so stressed, but afterwards we were like, oh my goodness, we need to go back and check. Like, it was fine. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're taught to be really careful, so.
That's crazy.
I'd feel like even if
Oh.
I had the wrong video.
Yeah, art conservation right there.
Yeah. So you
Yeah, this one.
kick the painting in half.
Yeah, yeah, especially the panel, right? So this
There
is
we
a
go.
video I pulled off of our school Instagram. This is
Oh,
one that
wow.
I submitted. And what's happening here is that I'm cleaning the surface dirt off the painting, which is very textured. I'm using a tailored gel solution. So basically the gel is this kind of neutral substance that controls the amount of water going into the system. And you can add surfactants, you can add something called a chelator, and these things kind of take away really specific dirt particles without damaging the paint surface.
Wow.
So
That's so precise.
yeah, so
That's
we use really
crazy.
small brushes and like really like small amounts of gel, and agitation is how this gel picks up the dirt. So we use a little brush to do that, you know, kind of agitate it around, and then once we pick up the gel, because the gel has chemicals in it, you want to remove it from the paint surface to make sure it doesn't do any damage you know, in the
In the long
future.
term, yeah.
So we use cotton swabs with clearing liquid or clearing water. They're like very barely damp swabs, and we just kind of pick up all that gel, and it's, you know, now it's clean.
It's crazy. You never
Is
really
there-
think about how much dirt would be on the surface of a painting
Yeah.
if it's been hanging.
Is there ever a reason to leave certain parts dirty, or like
There could be,
age?
yeah. So a lot of paintings, well, it depends on the client as well, right? If a client says, I just want it to be assessed or very basically cleaned, you know, like we can't do much more than what they ask for, and there's
Right.
always like ethics to consider. In a lot of older paintings, there's like glazes on shadows and things that the artist put in on purpose to make a painting look more aged. And sometimes it's really hard to differentiate between what's dirt and what's like fake dirt, I guess you could say.
For sure.
So there's always those considerations. Yeah.
So you have to pick up the dirt all over the painting just using those little tools.
Yeah.
Well, how long is the process?
This painting's
this
actually
particular one.
quite small.
Okay.
It's like a little panel.
Mm-hmm.
This took me. Well, I mean, I've been treating it since like October, probably
wow.
September, October, and I finally got to a stage where all of the basic surface dirt is cleaned. I got to that point like 3 weeks ago, so it did take quite a while, and it's like
That's
it's just
crazy.
because it's really careful
Mm.
work, right?
You,
Yeah.
you ever like you ever like consider like fuck, it's taking too long, and just bust out the acrylics and
Oh my
Get the power
goodness.
tools.
yeah, start painting it
I've
over?
heard literal horror stories of people doing that. They're like, this is too much to take care of, and they just like overpaint the whole thing, and then it comes to us,
Yeah.
and we're like, come on,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I
Definitely
really?
need patience.
Yeah.
Remember there was that one famous example of that, like
The monkey Jesus?
Yeah, monkey
Monkey
Jesus.
Jesus. Yes.
That's like one of our number one case studies. Whenever they're like bad restoration, monkey Jesus. Yeah.
That was like class 1. All right, so this is Monkey Jesus.
I just
This is what not to do.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can like, I'm gonna say it, fuck up that bad.
Mhm.
Like it's crazy
Yeah.
to like think that you just paint over it.
I thought it was a good restoration.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, she did her best. I might be
I'd
remembering
hire
this incorrectly, but I don't think she was a conservator, the person
No.
who was.
No, she wasn't.
It was just a person going to the church or something. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I
As an
got it.
artist,
I can
yeah.
fix it.
Yeah.
Conservator from which?
artist.
I think that's what happens when people, you know, don't trust the professionals in the field. They think like, oh, yeah, it's too expensive, oh, too time consuming. I know a guy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, my uncle is the best at. He's done it a million times.
He's painted
And I just,
1,000
you know,
condos.
and then, yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
That's horrible. Oh jeez.
I really hope it's okay that I pulled up that video. I mean,
yeah.
it was on a public Instagram, so
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's totally fine.
So,
Yeah, don't worry
fingers
about
crossed.
it.
I mean, my school, they're gonna be like, expelled. No, I'm
The
joking.
ghost
No,
of the artist is gonna come back.
How, as artists, can we protect? Because I don't want to say conserve, but how can we preserve our paintings?
Yeah, like how to prevent
Yes.
damage.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to really understanding your materials and your processes. I feel like, and this is like not in any way a bad thing. At OCAD, we love to experiment. We've done so many like really absolutely insane paintings and processes and pieces of work. And I feel like as long as the artist knows, you know, some things are not meant to last forever, how to layer your materials so that they don't have negative interactions with each other, I think that's very important. Another thing that's really helpful, more on the conservation side, is if artists leave down notes of like what they used, why they used it, how they used it. So there's this example of a painting that we studied in class where underneath the frame edges, the artist had written down like, I painted with this type of paint and this type of binder. If you conserve it, like please make sure you know
Yeah.
this fact.
Legend.
Yeah, or like he actually did restoration work on his own painting after like multiple years, and it was like signed, dated, like I fixed this at this time because the paint was flaking. I used this. That's
Yeah.
So it's
immensely
like
helpful.
a record. It's like a health record
Exactly.
almost.
Yeah, like a vaccination record, health record.
Is-
It's so useful.
What if you like want your painting to like tarnish like purposefully? Like you
Yeah.
want to cause a maximum amount of damage to your painting in the future?
Your
What
painting explodes.
what can you do?
Your painting just has to crumble immediately.
What can you do?
So there's a timer on the back.
Is there a way, like you sell a painting and then like 3 years later it just disintegrates?
Just paint on
What
a
are you
skateboard.
planning? Are you planning
yeah.
some,
Are
you like
crazy
Banksy or something?
scheme?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. See, Grad X is in
He is Banksy.
3 months.
Oh yeah, you got time. Yeah, no, I definitely
Will
think that's
self-destruct in 3, 2.
yeah, no, it's totally down to again like the artist's intention and leaving down record of that. Because a lot of the times, especially in like modern and contemporary works, a lot of the stuff is like it's meant to be ephemeral, right? So if the artist says like, "Oh, don't conserve that, it's okay," then we know, okay, like we'll monitor it for the display and for exhibition and whatever. But after that, because the artist doesn't want it, we'll not do anything if it like makes sense to do so. So yeah, it really is about knowing your materials and like communicating with other stakeholders what you want the future of your work to be.
Sorry, I just had a really like stupid thought. I was like, what if it was like an ice sculpture, and you were tasked with conserving the ice sculpture as it melted? Then what?
Ooh, I don't think we've gotten there yet. Yeah. I don't think
Freezer?
so. Yeah, cold storage.
Yeah.
Cold dark storage.
Yeah.
That's
Or
probably it.
water
Yeah.
on top of ice sculpture. Reform.
When you
For
think of art conservation, you know, you envision someone going with paints and you know retracing the artist's steps, but that seems kind of like a final effort, you know, when like
Yeah.
everything else didn't work. Like, at what point does someone actually have to go with a brush and like fill in things?
So I feel like our kind of like the best ethical consideration is to not do that. I know a lot of clients, they want their painting to look pristine, they want it to look perfect like it was just produced. And sometimes there are reasons to retouch to a large extent. But most of the time we really try to just diminish what the losses look like or kind of hide these imperfections. So a lot of it like overpainting or in painting that you see is actually done with reversible pigments or reversible
It can
materials.
come off after, right?
Exactly. So as long as you know what the material is, it can come off very easily. And that's what we try to do. So that's like one way we're kind of combating that, is that yes, you can do a certain level of intervention, but it has to be completely reversible or as reversible as possible.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
when those guys go to like the barbers and they like spray the hairline on. That's what popped up in my head.
Yeah, it's reversible. Yeah, it hides the imperfections.
They're
but
the
like,
true art.
yeah.
Hairline conservationist.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of like hair and stuff, I know like the Mona Lisa lost her like eyebrows. So,
Did
like,
she lose her eyebrows, or did she not have eyebrows?
They did a scan on it recently, and it revealed that there's like traces of like
Yeah.
eyebrows. Like, what is your thought on like taking a piece of art, like now that she's obviously lost her eyebrows? What is your thought on someone coming in and putting the eyebrows back on, even though like now like obviously the Mona Lisa has only become famous without eyebrows,
Right.
and then before that it was just another portrait, right? So like, what
Yeah.
is like your opinion on the ethics of like doing that?
Yeah, so that process I would say would heavily involve the stakeholders, so like who owns the piece or who are the caretakers of the piece and like curators in the gallery and museum. That's a really difficult question because obviously she's known a certain way.
Right.
It's like was it Sistine Chapel?
Yeah.
Where everyone was like, yeah, it's meant to look aged and it's meant to look, antique, but then the moment you clean off just the most surface dirt, literally dust, it's like bright blue again. Right? It's like it was known as being kind of antiquated and stuff like that. So it really depends on the piece and the stakeholders and like the extent to which it's damaged. Like if it's a surface dusting and it reveals a bright blue, like you're really not doing much, right? But if you were to add eyebrows back onto the Mona Lisa, I don't know about that one.
I guess it's like a question.
Gave her
of
a
two
fade.
with like
A low
Greek or
taper.
Roman sculptures that are made of like marble. They're obviously like white marble now,
yeah.
Right.
but like originally they were like
They were painted,
painted,
yeah.
right?
Painted,
Like
yeah.
they were like painted and stuff. But we've accepted as a society, I guess, that they should
Yeah.
just stay as like the way we found them.
Right, like as a sign of age, and like it all really ties into the context, right?
Yeah.
It's also like how were Mona Lisa's eyebrows
Yeah.
removed? Like, was it damage? Was it paint flaking? Was it the traces, are they under the top paint layer? Maybe, the artist meant
Right.
for
Yeah.
them to be there and then took
Probably
them off.
erased
That's
it.
possible, right? So it really depends on
Mhm.
the context and all the evidence you can find.
Yeah, with conservation, who are the clients? Museums, or do you get collectors, like individuals?
We get literally
Everybody.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be like, well, right now as students, we don't really work with large
Mhm.
institutions because
Yeah.
we are not there yet.
Yeah.
But like my professors and other conservators, I know they work for the government. They work for galleries and museums that are owned by the government or
Yeah.
by private clients or private owners. Sorry. We work with individual clients that
Yeah.
could be collectors or like part of an estate. They could just be like somebody wanting to fix their grandmother's old painting
I
that was
see,
left
yeah.
in the attic.
So it's like a service that anybody can.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what if what
Oh god.
sorry.
I'm scared for this question.
No, just like what if you finish the conserving of the artwork, and then like the client's card declines to put the dirt back on.
Yeah, we just rub the dirt back on and like sand off everything and like
You
take
just,
the
like, put
painting
the-
off the canvas. Yeah. No.
Card.
Card declines. Just like
It's like
take
when your
off the
card
dirt.
declines and they like undo your therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put your hair back on.
Have you seen those videos on TikTok?
Oh,
They're
it's
wild.
Yeah.
Play, yeah.
Oh my
That'd be
goodness,
a
it's like
good
when your
one.
card declines at therapy and they like I'm not gonna talk
Give
about
you back the trauma.
people's other
What's,
problems.
What would you say is up next that needs conservation? The works that are fresh and crumbling.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
They need to make the paintings soup proof.
Oh goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, we
the
talk
next
about that in
innovation.
class. Like whatever morning, like just a casual Monday morning, someone comes in, runs with their own, yo, somebody threw soup again, and we're
think-
like, damn.
I think I already know your opinion on this, but what is your opinion on people using vandalism to art for protest?
I mean, like, in a way, I can see where they're coming from, but also, like, as an aspiring conservator, like, come on, you make my
Yeah.
job so much harder.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
don't affect things that are. I don't want to say like things that belong to other people, but like in a way, yes, right? Because all art, as much as it's privately owned, is for everybody,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure there are other ways to do that. I know they're trying to get people's attention because other methods are not working, but you have to think about really like the effect that you have on things. This
Yeah.
art we've worked so hard to conserve for like hundreds, thousands of years. There's been conservators working since, I don't know, like Middle Ages or something,
Yeah.
right? And it's like something like that could really just be the end of a painting's life.
Yeah.
So-
But they target specifically the big oil
Yeah.
activists, or like the activists against big oil. They target paintings that are specifically behind glass. It's
Yeah.
more so
Yeah.
for the statement.
So, and that's
Yep.
that's interesting. That actually leads
Damaging.
into like something I read last week for like a Socratic circle and thesis. But we all did choose like a different writing from this book about like destruction in art. And the one I chose, it was called Art Vandalism and stuff. And the author had broken this thing into like 2 points where she basically like explained art vandalism as being formed by 2 different causes. The first one being solely political and as like a means to get attention, which would be like throwing soup
Yeah.
at a painting to get your political thoughts heard. And the second one was like art vandalism in the terms of like destroying like statues or paintings that were done by, less than savory figures and stuff who had like a
Yeah.
particular view of the world. What is your thought on the conservation of works like that are surrounded or shrouded in controversy? For example, like a sculpture of John A. Macdonald that gets like covered in paint
that's
or
the
like
example I was
smashed with
thinking of,
hammers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's a really good question because that's something that's, really current and it's been happening all throughout history, but especially now with social media, I feel like it's a lot larger than it used to be. It's really difficult thinking about that because at the same time that you understand why this figure is being vandalized and all the wrongs that they've done, it's a part of history that unfortunately cannot and should not be erased, right? The main purpose of these things existing and our interpretation these days of controversy is like we should move forward and be better than what they were. So the way that I look at it is like this is a reminder of what has happened. We shouldn't be like glorifying these figures, and therefore, certain types of vandalism adds to that context. Certain types of vandalism, you know, like should be removed from certain objects. There's like it's like a gray area, and you really need to talk to, again, the stakeholders. I know I keep bringing up stakeholders,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, like if the government says clean that sculpture or that statue of John A. MacDonald, we can't say no. We can say no, but the job goes to somebody else who will do it, right?
Yeah.
So it really is about like, you know, your own ethics and what other people want, and just understanding the context, right? I think it's
Yeah.
just important. Like education is important.
Someone
Yeah.
comes in. I have this painting by a little Austrian artist.
Jesus.
1930. But it's for the sake of history.
Art
you know.
conservation, yeah.
You
But I
have to
guess-
be an objective figure, you know.
That's correct. Yeah, you have to be really objective. A lot of paintings that I've seen or studied in class, they're like controversial topics, depictions of people that are, you know, less than savory. And yeah, you just really have to evaluate the whole thing, talk to other people, talk to other conservators, talk to people of
Yeah.
the groups that were targeted, and just kind of make, you know, the most neutral decision based off of that.
Because I guess it's a question of, too, like if it's being destroyed or not conserved, that's like losing that history or culture, too, right?
Exactly. Then it's just erasure, which doesn't really help society move forward, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Is there an artist, like dream conservation of an artist? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
an artist's work I would like to work on.
MVP, yeah, artist you want to work on.
Ooh, not a particular artist, but definitely a genre of art. I'm really interested in ancient Chinese paintings and scrolls, and it's kind of weird because I'm specializing in paintings, but that's kind of more on like the paper side of conservation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be an absolute dream to work and conserve that, because that's a piece of my cultural heritage, right, and my history and stuff. So that'd be really interesting. On the flip side, I'm just really interested in contemporary works, you know, like time-based media,
Yeah.
painted surfaces. So I'm kind of trying to find where I belong in this field and in this world. But yeah.
I remember in your sort of like, we asked some questions to you before this interview happened just to get a sort
Right.
of understanding. You talked about like acrylic paint and how it doesn't last as long and stuff.
Yes.
I'm fascinated, for you personally, what do you find harder to conserve, acrylic or oil?
Definitely acrylic. I would say acrylic, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because for oil, it's existed for so long that there's proper research that's been done on it, and like all conservators basically are like, okay, we know what works, what doesn't, what happens to oil after so many years. Like there's been such a longer time frame that
Yeah.
we've been able to observe it. Acrylics have only been popping up for the past, what, like 50, 60 years, really, like on a widespread basis. And it's just like we keep finding new problems. Like
Yeah.
it just does things
Yeah.
that we didn't think it would do.
There's going to be a headline soon, just like, as it turns out, acrylic paints explode after 61 years.
Yeah, yeah, we're approaching
Everything's,
that, I think. Yeah, just
Oh.
spontaneously combusts.
I guess
Yeah.
that is like a thing though too, is like as you conserve more art, you learn more about the materiality and
Yeah.
like how to conserve this type of art, right? Do you have a preferred medium to conserve?
I think I'm still too early in my career to know
Right.
that, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are working with some acrylic paintings, and they're like actually terrifying. It's like there's a bunch of solvents that can be used with oil paintings, depending on like how they're made, what they're bound with. There's like a combination of things that you could test and use. All of those things don't work on acrylic. Sometimes, yeah, like solvents sometimes
Yeah.
they don't work. They're very sensitive. Water sometimes doesn't work. Like water, like come on, right? So it's like, what do we really use? And a lot of the time, it's just like, if they're not that damaged that you need an aqueous cleaning, you just dust them. Just do the basic, like bare minimum. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really scary. We have test paintings that we create and then do like the little chemical test on to purposefully like damage them to see how far it goes. I've literally melted acrylic paint with solvents.
Jesus.
It's so scary. And my prof is like, yeah, look at that. Wow, pretty colors. I'm like, oh, I've killed it. And she's like, yeah, well, it's a test painting. It's okay. You're supposed to. But
What is
Yeah.
the oldest piece of art you've helped conserve or work on?
there's one in the studio right now that I'm kind of in charge of. It's like my second project of the year. I believe it's from, what did they say, 19th century, 19th or 18th century?
Jeez.
So
That's
not that
old.
old yet, but like still
It's still
pretty old.
old, like,
Yeah.
We're the 21st century. That's like
Yeah. That's quite a while.
A whole century.
That's a whole century, yeah.
Damn, dude.
And like on the surface, it really looks not that bad. Yeah, there's like major structural problems, but the painting itself is beautiful still. Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so like hypothetically, you're done studying, you get your master's in art conservation and stuff. Where is your dream sort of place, like institution, to be conserving art at?
Ooh, I think a lot of this overlaps with a lot of us conservators or like aspiring conservators. We talk about the Smithsonian a lot. We talk about the Met a lot. And I feel like the Smithsonian is one of the places I would love to end up in because actually right before I started the program, like I already had been accepted and everything, a documentary was sent out to us, and it was about the conservation team at like the Smithsonian in Cleveland, in Boston, and it was like all the Chinese paintings conservators. And I was like immediately dialed in, zoned in. I was like, I want to do this. I want to be in this place. But honestly, just because I love art in general, I know that's like a very broad statement. I love art, and I would be happy to be anywhere that, contributes to the protection of art.
After, going through your training, do you go to museums or like art shows and go, well,
Could use a little bit of.
could use a little bit over there and a little bit of
I've
this.
definitely done that, actually. We've had a few field trips where we like purposefully go to different small galleries and stuff, and they're like, okay, find 5 problems and 5 good things. And we're like, the light's too high. This painting's next to a vent. We don't like that. The windows
Yeah.
don't have filters on them, all that stuff. So yeah, now looking at art's really difficult because I'm not just looking at the art anymore. I like enjoy it for 30 seconds and I'm like,
And then,
what
okay.
level are the lights at? Yeah,
So I
That's
guess like when
interesting.
you're in the
It's a
gallery,
new perspective.
It is
at
a new
looking at
perspective,
art.
you're like
Yeah.
looking at the little like thermometers too, and you're like,
I
oh.
am looking at the thermometers, yes, and I'm like, the air feels a little bit humid. That's not good. Or like today, while I was in the AGO just walking around, there was the Cause exhibit, right? And it's all acrylic paint on canvas. And my first thought was to look at the ceiling and be like, I wish I had a light meter. I'd like to check how
Yeah.
bright these lights are. So, and then I was like, okay, stop. You're here enjoying. Just take a look. I'm sure they know what they're, like the AGO obviously knows what they're doing. They've got a great conservation team. So, yeah.
Okay. So knowing what you know, the artists.
Right.
I'm going to tell you the materiality. This is plywood, found plywood.
Yes, found plywood.
And above ground acrylic.
No, it was
Right.
gouache.
Oh, it's gouache.
It's
It's
gouache.
gouache.
Okay,
Sorry.
and did you prime the wood?
With the white
Yes.
you're looking at right
Yes.
And what is this wood? Gouache or acrylic?
now. Actually, the
The wood?
white on top is like
Latex, no?
No, it was like you paint your wall with primer.
Yeah,
White primer,
wall
yeah.
primer.
Wall
Latex
primer.
or polyurethane.
Yeah. Yeah, probably latex.
Not bad. Not a bad move.
But is it going to survive?
How many
these
years we
lights?
got?
How many years we got? Well,
Yeah.
you have some active deterioration.
Oh shit.
I'll be honest.
What?
You have some
It's
active
over for you.
deterioration.
That's the lightest way you could put it.
Yeah, you got some accretions and abrasions on the side.
Can it be saved, doctor?
Yes, I think this table has a 75% chance of survival. No, I think
75?
it's definitely higher. It's fine. It's doing fine.
What about the burn? Where's the burn?
Oh yeah, we got a.
The what?
How would you get a cigarette burn out of an art piece?
That's actually from GradX.
yeah.
Oh,
I
very
wonder
nice.
who.
Well, I just
done that.
cleaned nicotine off one of the paintings I was working on.
Wait, nicotine?
Like when people smoke and it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah. There's
It,
Yeah.
it goes on the painting.
So what did you do with the nicotine?
That's what I was
Oh my gosh,
thinking.
actually I've saved it in a jar. Like it's
Oh.
like the jelly stuff that you saw, the tailored gel.
Yeah, yeah.
When you lift up the gel, it's like this really gross yellow, like boogery looking stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
best way I can explain it. And I kept it in a jar so that we could do chemical analysis of it.
Oh,
Find out what
So-
brand.
yeah, it's not actually cigarettes.
No, not actually cigarettes. No, I couldn't just collect it. So I have
It's-
this little
yeah.
jar. It's like this like little
It's a
little
chemi-
guy, and it's
yeah.
just like booger in there.
It's just one guy is just like, I'm going to do the chemical analysis outside. Give
Yeah.
me a second.
Sorry, what century did you say this painting was from?
This one, the one that I'm talking about now, is from the 1930s.
1930s.
Yeah, and I think it was inside a house.
Cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
Mm.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, but
You
it's
sure
like
the-
it's super funny.
The artist didn't just like, I'm going to do some experimental mark making. Really build up the texture.
Oh, that would. I mean, I would not put it past an artist to do that. We all did some crazy
Yeah.
stuff at OCAD. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
if conservators were to look at my thesis, I mean, like even now with conservation knowledge, I look at my thesis and I'm like, what did you do? Why would you do that? I mean, at least I primed the thing. It could have been worse, right?
Can you please come to GradX this year and just
Yeah.
like
Pick apart
pick
everybody.
apart everybody's like.
Did you
hanging
That's
out.
not
did you
gonna look
gesso
good in-
this? No. Okay. Well, it's gonna deteriorate in 60 years. Yeah, but just I don't know. Side note to artists: canvases become acidic. Wood is inherently acidic and becomes more acidic over time. So make sure you gesso.
And
That's
it shrinks, right?
Yeah, wood can shrink
Right.
if there's different like humidity and temperature and all that stuff. Yeah.
What would you say is the most forever paint, or forever, I guess, the one will last you the longest? Maybe? Or the, I guess.
Which
I guess
one
it
can you
won't
not get off
last-
the wall?
It won't last forever, because if you're going to conserve it, you said oil would be best.
I mean,
maybe-
oil paintings have lasted since like the beginning of painting, right?
Right.
So there's a reason that it's still being used and being manufactured a certain
Yeah.
way. Yeah, now we're finding problems with acrylic, as I mentioned before. Like when it was first made, they're like, this dries fast, it's better than oil, you don't need all those harmful solvents, it will last forever, and it's just not. So I guess
What about like enamel?
enamel, I think enamel's, I honestly
Right.
don't know too much about enamel because that's more on like the artifacts and object
Yeah.
side. But like one thing that I've heard a lot of people dealing with recently is like epoxy resin.
Mm.
Because
it
like yes,
yellows,
it
right?
yellows though, yeah.
Yeah.
But it stays like strong for a really long time. Yeah.
So I guess it's like an uphill battle. It's like for every pro, there's a con for
Exactly,
each
yeah.
material, right? Like it's not like you're gonna find like the one chemical or material that's gonna like be perfect.
Exactly, and there's no one size fits all. Like this table, for example, this paint's holding up well on it, but if you were to put another paint or another layering process, it could have been chipping already.
Yeah, let's put some epoxy
Let's put
on
some
it.
epoxy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think epoxy would look
Yeah.
quite nice on this table, nice and smooth, as long as it doesn't yellow. Yeah.
PODCAD for another 50 years. Be
Oh,
back when
yeah.
the table starts yellowing.
How expensive is the process?
Ooh.
Very.
It depends, huh?
It really depends. Yeah.
Like a ballpark.
I honestly could not ballpark it
You
for
can ballpark it.
No.
No. Because like first of all, like our field is really, I want to say like closed off and
Yeah.
quiet about this type of stuff, and then as students we don't really have access to this type of information yet because we're not the one ordering things, we're not the one
Yeah.
dealing with that side of the business. But at Queen's, like I can really confidently say we have a very large arsenal of materials, chemicals, and objects we work with that probably like we probably have a lot more than most private studios have.
Yeah.
So it definitely is a really costly field.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
also a painter.
Yes.
Do you leave medical notes on the back of your paintings?
My own paintings, no, but I've actually considered
Oh.
starting to do that. So
Yeah.
when I'm planning a painting, I actually write in notebooks about my process, or I have like a typed up like artist statement, I guess, that goes through the materials. And I think that if my art ever were to become something worth conserving or something worth showing, that would definitely get sent in along with the artwork.
Of course, it's worth conserving.
Oh, thank you.
Aw.
Everything's worth conserving, honestly. Like all the stuff we
Not
make.
this table.
Not this
Right in the.
Clearly not this table. No.
Do you have any upcoming plans with your own artistic practice?
Oh my goodness, no. But I really wish I did.
Yeah. It's too many things
because
to shuffle.
So many
huh?
things to.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Ever since that art show, I remember I spent 2 months just nonstop creating works, and I made, I think it was like around 15 original pieces just for this one show. And then after that, it was just chemistry. All I do now is draw
Nice.
like chemical symbols and organic reactions.
It's a lot of math too, right?
Not my strong suit anymore. But yeah, lots of math. Yeah. I wish I could paint more. I really do. But seeing other people's paintings
Yeah.
is, is enough to kind of satisfy that hunger, I guess. Yeah.
We should take a look at some of the images and videos. you
Right.
brought in.
Sure,
Right.
yeah. What a fancy setup.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
not Too fancy.
So
Yeah.
here we have you. Is that a microscope?
Yeah, that's
Or
a
they have it-
microscope. It's like a portable one that we can kind of wheel around the studio, and we can connect it to like an LCD monitor or our laptops.
Cool.
And basically what I was doing here was gluing down like a flake of paint that had popped off. And we were using, again, like reversible material. So when I say glue, what I actually mean is like a consolidant that can be easily reversed.
But it's like the original paint.
Yeah, we
I
try to
have
save all the flakes.
I have
yes.
a question as like a collector.
Yes.
How do you conserve a digital painting?
Oh goodness, yeah, that's also another newer thing that's been coming up is like the conservation of time-based media, and it's really about file formats, kind of managing your files,
Put it on
knowing
the hard
what
drive.
types of things have like what's it called, lossy compression.
Yeah.
I remember some things from OCAD, yeah, lossy compression, like the right wrapping for the file to make sure that it can be easily transferred or kind of like refreshed as needed. Yeah,
It's
that's
like
all I know so
We
far.
want to avoid like data rot too, right?
Exactly,
Like if you haven't
yeah.
opened it for like a century, it's gonna be non-openable.
Yeah, and like making sure you're really kept up to date on technology, because like what if one type of hard drive becomes obsolete one day, then you have like all this stuff stuck in, or like VHS tapes,
Yeah.
right? You had
'Cause
to, we had
I
to
wanna
transfer
keep
all
my
those.
NFT pristine.
So very enthusiastic.
I can't wait until people come to me with NFTs.
Can you conserve my NFT?
I don't even know how I would respond to that at this point. Yeah, I really don't know.
Was it done in oil?
Yeah, that one.
No? Okay, bye.
Yeah, this is a test painting, so I'm sure there's no legal problem. Oh, yeah. So this was removing a wax lining. So in history, people would do like glue paste linings, wax linings, and it leaves a lot of residue on the back of the painting. So we were teaching, or they were teaching us how to remove the residue so that it can be relined and restretched.
So this is like basically a painting that they purposely messed up.
A painting they purposely messed up, or a painting that the owner no longer wants it or donated it to our study collection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
this is the backside.
Yeah, this is the backside, yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell is this painting? Like,
It's a Rothko.
Sandstorm.
yeah.
Rothko.
Yeah, I see that you're wearing a respirator. I'm just
Yes.
curious, like, how harmful can the chemicals be? Like, I know back in the day there were some wacky things being used,
yeah.
you know? Like, is there ever like a painting that just like the artist is just like, yes, this is actually oil, lead on asbestos.
Literally, no, we literally have dealt with things with both of those those materials in it.
Okay.
What I was wearing the respirator here for was actually the solvents we were using, because long-term exposure causes
Right.
health problems, right? And
Yeah.
immediate exposure causes things like, like lightheadedness, dizziness, headache, all
All
that
the
stuff.
fun stuff. Yeah.
All the fun stuff. I don't want to be huffing solvents for
Right.
hours, so we
Best
have a
you
lot
wear
of
the
safety
mask.
protocols.
I thought that was all the nicotine from.
Yeah, I'm just casually scraping off nicotine off the painting.
And
yeah.
here we have you and your pupils.
This is my team at the Royal Military College. Sadly, they're all taller than me, and it's really awkward teaching them.
Oh, you're in the very like.
Yeah, that's
tall.
like
I was
I'm
like,
standing
whoa,
on the
you look
No, you're
first
tall as
place.
hell. What are you
Yeah,
talking
what the
about?
heck?
I'm so tall. Yeah, I was standing on the first place podium on my tippy toes, being carried by those two.
Damn, you're like 12 foot.
Yeah, I'm like so tall. I'm taller than the banister thing. But yeah, this is my team. We're 13 people total, and they're all students at the military college.
And you say
Yeah.
you train every day?
4 times a week,
four
so
times
4
a
times
week.
out of 5 in
Yeah.
the weekdays. And we get together for around an hour and a half, and I go through like sparring training, the forms training, basics, conditioning. We're actually getting ready for our last events of the semester,
Cool.
so they're working hard. Yeah, they're
That's
really
good.
excited. Yeah, this is one of the first steps we take when analyzing a painting is we look at it with light at different angles. So putting it at a lower angle is called raking light, and you can see all the surface texture and all the irregularities,
Yes.
and it helps us kind of make decisions like on how to move forward. So yeah, just blur the painting so I don't get sued. Thank you.
And here's you in action.
Me
After you get sued.
after
What'd
me
you
after I get
say?
sued, ready to
Suing me?
square up. No, so this was me. We did a little demonstration during this crossover exchange event with the U.S. Military Academy team, and yeah, there were just like a bunch of executives lined up in front of the gym, and we're like, oh goodness, we need to show them some stuff. Yeah, so that's one of them.
What does your belt say?
On the side with the text that you can see, it says World Taekwondo Federation. Right now, they're just called World Taekwondo. They took away Federation, but I have like the older style of belt.
OG.
OG, yeah. On the other side, that's my Chinese name, and then the 5 stripes for the 5 dans that I have.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Best of the best.
And that's just my team with the U.S. military team together.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
If I had to train this many athletes at once, I think I might die.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Yeah, they're nice kids.
Are you very strict on your pupils?
I try not to be because I grew up in a time where coaches were really strict with people and it left a lot of mental scars on us often. Like I've had a handful of really good coaches and a handful of really not so great ones, I hate to say. But yeah, I try to take a more friendly approach, really focus on their mental health and longevity rather than immediate results.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. I feel like, what would I know, but uncommon.
So you're conserving art and conserving people's mental health.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really good.
I like that.
It's
That's
good
going,
for
that's going on my website. Thank you. And yeah, that was just another picture from the demo.
Damn.
It's crazy.
High kick.
High kick. And it's crazy to think that like a year ago I couldn't do this because my knee was just like not intact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember doing this in kindergarten.
Yeah, against the guy in the park.
Actually, my kick was low.
Yeah.
Against the.
Your kick was higher, wasn't it?
Kicked right over the kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed him.
Send him back to Portugal.
Yeah,
Mark kicked
so high.
right over their head. The guy was
Got
like,
me
what?
right in the nuts.
Yeah.
Got him.
Actually, he was in kindergarten. I was 17. I forgot that part of this story.
You mentioned tricking. I want to show the video.
Oh yeah, sure.
There you go. Aerial. Okay.
Hook, cart, full.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this is tricking. Tricking is a hybrid
Run that
sport.
back. That
Run
was-
that back. We're gonna run that back.
Yeah, sure. That was one of like my best videos ever, so I'm really happy to continue watching it.
Bang. That's
Person
awesome.
filming that's so brave. I'd be so scared that I'm just gonna get like.
If you walk into the gym, it looks really silly because it's a bunch of people doing this, and then the people like literally shuffling back, like holding
Yeah.
the camera, chasing each
It
other.
reminds me of like trying like when your friend wants like a skate video and they're
Literally
like
that.
one more time. I
Yeah.
swear I'm gonna
Maybe
win
they
the trick.
chuck the
Literally.
board
And
at
you've
your
got to
head.
like ride beside them super slowly. Yeah.
Some of these videos, they take so many tries, and it's just somebody like sticking their butt out, like, I got you, and everyone's like, can you please finish so we can, But yeah, I was saying tricking is a hybrid sport that combines elements of martial arts, acrobatics, breakdancing, capoeira, parkour, and it combines all these things, like a combination of kicks and flips, and it's really like not a standardized sport. There's a lot of freedom, so the style that you saw me tricking in is very like martial arts, taekwondo style. But you have people who have like parkour backgrounds or dance backgrounds
crazy.
that can do like a bunch of other things that I have no clue even like how to do. So it's a really cool sport.
So you could like mix like any other like physical sport into it.
Basically, yeah, like tricking is just movement.
Okay, so like hypothetically,
Hypothetically.
you could do like a taekwondo kick and then backflip and then land into a pool and then do like a synchronized.
A pool.
Yeah, sure. A
Swimming
pool. Where did the pool come from?
I don't know. And then next thing you know, you're back on like dry land and you're doing some like crazy like
I
windmill
think we're
kick.
getting into like diving now. with
Yeah.
that,
Shit,
yeah.
well.
Or if you land in a pool, you're diving.
Yeah.
The aerial, pretty crisp.
Thank you.
I know what it is because I want to toot my own horn. I landed one ever once.
Very good.
Okay, gymnastics.
Anyways, that was tricking is pretty cool. You do it at the Monkey Vault.
Yeah, the Monkey Vault in North York, Toronto. That's one of, I think, maybe like 2 or 3 gyms in Ontario that are really supportive of like tricking and not just gymnastics. A lot of gyms are like, they have to be supervised and you need to take a class.
Yeah.
Here, we literally just pull up any time of the day and we're just like throwing ourselves at the floor. And the
It's
owner of the
fun.
gym is like, yeah, you go, kids. Like, yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So, usually on PODCAD, you know the deal. We like to give our guests a little something.
Okay.
And, you mentioned that you haven't gotten a chance to practice your own art.
Mm-hmm.
So from us at PODCAD, we thought, we give you a little something to maybe ignite your creative passions.
What is this? I'm short. Can you pass that? Oh,
It's
that's
a
so sweet of
little
you
sketchbook
guys.
that you can take with you and,
Oh, thank
whenever you have the
you.
time.
That's so sweet of you guys. Yeah, I've actually been looking for a small, like I've got the
Oh,
big
nice.
sketchbooks that I'm like, I can't fit this in pockets. But yeah, I will be bringing this around with me everywhere. Thank you
Oh.
so much. Yay.
No problem.
Thank-
Just don't read the ingredients.
No,
Acidic,
we're ignoring it.
lead.
Acidic paper, asbestos, yeah,
Nicotine.
acrylic
Nicotine,
paint,
yeah.
slathered in nicotine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
Thank
This
you.
has been really fun.
yes. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming back on the show again. And yeah, we hope to hear more about
course.
your art conservation journey and Taekwondo journey.
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'd hope to see you
course.
guys
It's
again
good to
soon.
see
And
you
I'll
again.
be at GradX for sure. I'll try to
Hell yeah.
make it back to there. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
And you can tell me all the ways that my art is making
Yeah, I will
It's gonna
tear
die.
your art apart. Do it. And I'll be like, you did this, this, and this wrong. Redo
You're gonna
it.
be like, you glued this to the wall. There's pinholes all over it.
Is
can
that
see
lead I
this-
see there?
This is acrylic-based ink on acid paper. What
Oh,
What are you
no.
doing?
Nicotine?
Yeah, layers of nicotine from me.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.
Take it
Bye
easy.
bye. Bye, Elmer.
All right.
Sweet.
Bye.